of the public to join us in person tonight. Tonight's virtual public forum will be live streamed on our website, and I extend a warm welcome to those who are watching this evening. The public forum provides residents with an opportunity to present to council on topics of interest and allows for further discussion, which is not possible at a formal council meeting. Now, on tonight's agenda, we have 4 presentations from members of the public, although I think that is now reduced to 3. So our first presentation, I would like to invite Nina Franceschi to provide a presentation on a request to plant out the Moonee Ponds Creek from Strathmore North Primary School to Boeing Reserve. If you're online, Nina, I will note just as well while we're waiting for Nina to connect, Councillor Tyson is with us this evening, just linked in via audio at the moment. And at this stage, we have an apology from Councillor Sypek. Councillor Sharp, haven't heard from as yet. Nina, are you with us? All right, whenever you're ready, Nina, the floor is yours. Just might be having a few audio issues there. Still nothing at this stage. We might get Maria just to get in touch with Nina, and we might go to our second presentation, if that's all right, tech support, while Nina fixes those audio problems. So our second presentation is from Kim Skerry to provide a presentation on Amendment C200 Moon, HO 451, for a heritage overlay. We got Kim online. Kim, if you're with us, just pop your audio on and camera if you'd like to be on, and we'll get you to present.
Okay, sorry, I've unmuted.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. We can hear you.
So I normally use Teams, so I'm not as familiar with how to share my screen. Hang on, I've got it, share screen. And okay, just the video, I haven't quite got that.
That's fine. I've got your shared screen up, so more than happy for you to speak to the presentation. If your video's on, great. If not, you'll be just a little square in the corner anyhow. So I think all councillors can see the screen. Get a thumbs up. Yes, excellent. So please present, Kim.
All right. What I wanted to talk about was the C200 Moon HO overlay for Brown Avenue. I've sent all councillors an email tonight just detailing some points because I've only got 5 minutes to run through this. I suppose my first concern was actually the process that's been followed throughout this. There was very much a lack of consultation with the Brown Avenue residents, and I raised that at the hearing, and Mrs. Schneider, who was council's expert, said that there was surveys, because I noted in other people's presentations that they had been spoken to in a survey sent out in 2017. That never happened to the Brown Avenue residents. Now, I've been living here 20 years and the majority, or 22 years, and I have 2 properties. And the majority of the residents in the street have been, and none of us were actually contacted And even Ms. Schneider said that seemed quite strange with the amount of opposition that was raised to council when our first submission went in. We'd had no notification other than when we got the overlay. And note that we have an 83% objection. The people that didn't object, one's quite happy for their house to have listed. The other one I wasn't able to contact, and two were pretty much nonplussed. One, because I helped him get his house removed from it because it was a faux reproduction, and then he didn't really care what happened to the rest of the street. But we're a very tight community. Also, I'd like you to read the comments there about when the advertised dates come out for the 20th of May that was on the letterhead. Wasn't posted to the 29th of May, and council's solicitor admitted that in the hearing, but again, they don't deal with this type of thing. And I've put in a stat deck, and there's also other people that raised that matter, that you're actually outside the 30 days. Also, it was very tough during COVID to actually try and work with this panel. I couldn't get to the library. At the time, my husband wasn't working because of COVID lockdown. He's in the construction industry. I didn't have time or the money to seek legal advice. Also, there were a lot of residents in the area that are elderly and had no idea of what this was all about. I actually took the time to explain it to them and their families. I didn't just bulldoze them and ask them to sign it. I went and actually explained. A lot of them don't speak very good English, the elderly, so I got their children on the phone and explained it to them. But now I'll probably jump over to my presentation. What I'd like to bring up here is I'll flick through it pretty quickly because I've only got a couple of minutes. This basically, the key attributes and what they're saying Brown Avenue has is basically based off the Monash precinct, which I'd ask you all to have a look at. And basically the key attributes are what they've said there. They're predominantly detached, sitting with similar or uniform frontage, side setback, single story, predominantly hipped and gable roof. Now, most of the houses in Moonee Valley have hipped and gable roofs. Have they been adjusted is probably what I'm going to point out to you here, and the amount of change that Brown Avenue has actually had. So if we look at the first residence, Ms. Schneider and me went through discussing this. She said, oh, well, they really shouldn't have carports and that on the front of them because they've been significantly adjusted. So this one has. It also has solar panels visible from the street, and because I've been a resident here for so long, the front fence is altered and a driveway was put in. So that has changed. Now this house again, if you can see on the right-hand side, the house has actually been extended to within the 1 metre boundary. The windows have been changed, the roof line's been changed. Know the owners again, the fence has been changed. So they made a submission saying that their house was significantly different and the street as well. Then we go to number 5 Brown Avenue. I know the builder of this who redid the house. So it has a double-storey extension. Again, the overlay stated that it's predominantly single-storey Brown Avenue, which it's not, as you'll see as we go through. The roof tiles have been replaced and new front fence has been put in. This one, you can see the original, well, this is not original, but the latest photos when they purchased the property. Adam Kennedy did this extension. As he stated, everything's been replaced and removed on this. It's got a garage on the side. The roof line's been changed, the chimney's removed. They also made a submission. I mean, we care about Brown Avenue and we want our street to look nice, but what we don't see is why, when it's been predominantly changed and we have Monash precincts within 50 metres, as to why we're actually putting another overlay. It seems just like, and this was brought up in the hearing, that we're basically scraping the bottom of the barrel. And I asked Ms. Schneider too, why did you pick Brown Avenue? She couldn't give me any reason, because Brown Avenue is no different to the majority of streets in Ascot Vale, with predominantly, you know, quite a few Californian bungalows in it. This one is a friend's house. Now, this is actually, council wanted to list, was talking about, Ms. Schneider said, well, I think this one should be actually listed. But as you can say, the actual period of the house has been changed from Edwardian Federation to Victorian. So Joe altered that, you know, 15 years ago. So again, how can we say that this is significant when the veranda's been replaced? It's actually been turned into a Victorian looking faux house. I mean, lovely job. House is done beautifully inside. And again, this one has been extended on the left side, and the roof line's been changed, the fence line's been changed, the roof's actually been totally changed because it was, and the windows have been changed. Again, nice house, but nothing significant. They all look rather modern now because that's the style people go for. They update them to look nice, but keep a few features. Again, this one's done by Adam Kennedy, a local builder. He did the other previous double-storey extension in the house. As you can see, the pillars are not original. The front porch is not original. It's got a carport on the side. The roof line was changed and it's been extended again on the other side from the carport.
Thanks, Kim. Jim, just noting your 5 minutes is almost up. I guess a couple of questions. Firstly, obviously, you've circulated this, or you are going to circulate this presentation to councillors.
Yes, it's on the email I sent.
Perfect. Secondly, before I do throw to questions from councillors, if there are any, so in terms of summarising your main ask, it's your ask is to strike off just the odd numbered side of Brown Ave, or what's the?
No, well, my house is, I'll just quickly go to my actual house, but the residents all believe that, quickly, look at the difference in this one. And then another local builder, the house is totally changed. Shame council doesn't do something about our houseboat in the street, which I don't know is the local eyesore that everyone drives past and stops. Then just quickly, as we go down the hill, well, I'll be really quick. This one's asbestos been replaced. Then this one is in really poor conditions, the foundations. Then all of a sudden, this one's been subdivided, which again, I don't know why, but then we get down the end of the street and they dropped out all these houses. I don't know why, and Ms. Schneider couldn't explain that. Then again, as you go up the hill, this one's got nothing even the same. Again, this is Younger Builders. They've done 2 houses in the street. They've supplied the photos. This one was a person that actually felt that their house should be heritage listed, but isn't. We have no objection to that. I'm happy for that one to be put in. This one's been significantly altered as well. This one, now this is my house. I own 2 houses. As I said, Ms. Schneider actually agreed that there are other better examples of Californian bungalows in the street. And I think that's the point. We have Monash Street, which does it. And then that's my house, which is very modern next to it. This one is very decapitated. I know the owner, she's a lovely old lady, been in the house since she was born, but basically there's nothing left. It'll fall apart very shortly. This one's been extended. This is the faux one that council had on the listing that I told them was a reproduction. And again, this one's been extended. So thank you for your time. Sorry, I'll let you go through the
So Kim, your key ask is striking Brown Ave out of the recommendation?
Yes, or if not, at least my house, which, you know, Ms. Schneider has admitted is not a particularly good Californian bungalow. I've owned this property for 20 years and I don't want to put a monstrosity, and we wouldn't be able to. I mean, council has restrictions as to what you can build in the area anyway. It's not like I can put up a 4-storey block of flats. I've had this property to be my retirement, you know, plan to build a retirement home on it. And now I've basically been told that I can't.
Thank you. Thanks, Kim. So obviously, councillors, the 2017 Heritage Study Permanent Heritage Controls post-panel adoption and approval will no doubt come to us at a meeting in the future. So if there's any questions you want to ask, but obviously not making any definitive statements, Councillor Isa.
Oh, look, I just wanted to thank Kim very much as a ward councillor for putting this all together. And it may be, Kim, I'm obviously sorry you haven't been able to get through the whole presentation in detail in the limited time, and maybe Councillor Hodgson, Councillor Bettio and myself as the ward councillors might be able to touch base with you in the coming days, maybe at the weekend, or we can perhaps email each other and see if there's a time to do that.
That would be very much appreciated.
Thanks, Councillor Isa. Any other councillor? Just noting I don't have you on my screen, so if anyone has any other questions, please just take your microphone off and speak. If not, thank you very much, Kim. And as Councillor Isa mentioned, that potentially ward councillors will reach out to you as well, and other councillors obviously can as well if they have any questions about your presentation. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kim.
We'll now bump back to our first presentation, and also just welcome Councillor Sharp. She joined us just a couple of minutes after we started, so Councillor Sharp is online as well. So we'll go back to Nina Franceschi, who was providing a presentation on a request to plant out the Moonee Ponds Creek from Strathmore North Primary School to Boeing Reserve. All right, just a note from tech support there that Nina's still having some difficulties. So we'll move to our third presentation for this evening. It comes from Simon Tobin, who's representing the Essendon Cricket Club. He's speaking to the summer and winter allocations of the ground and pavilion at Cross Keys. Once Simon is with us, Simon, you've got 5 minutes. Floor is yours. If you're with us, Simon, we're ready for your presentation.
Hello, Cam.
Yes, you're live, Simon. So we're ready for your presentation. You've got 5 or so minutes. You've got a captive audience group, and we're being live streamed as well. So the floor is yours.
Terrific. Thanks very much for the opportunity. Look, just over a week ago, the Essendon Cricket Club was made aware, obviously, of the proposal by the Essendon Royals to have the facility at Cross Keys reserved exclusively for the soccer club, importantly for effectively 12 months of the year. That proposal also, by effect, sought to remove or seeks to remove the 2 Cross Keys summer tenants, the Essendon Cricket Club and the Strathmore Cricket Club. It seeks to restrict future use of Cross Keys by other community groups, effectively by fencing off large areas of open space at the reserve. Now, tonight I'm speaking on behalf of the Essendon Cricket Club. I'm also speaking with the authority of the Strathmore Cricket Club President, Alison Dodd. Importantly, I've also been able to confirm the full support of Cricket Victoria and Cricket Australia, who are all closely monitoring the developments as well. Look, in the last week, I've had the opportunity of speaking with several of the councillors about our club, our connection with Cross Keys, and the vital importance of our ongoing use of the facility, for which I'm grateful. I'm mindful of the time, so I will press on. Look, the soccer club proposal that was issued to council contains several statements which vastly underplayed the cricket use of Cross Keys Reserve. They were misleading, I have to say, and they must be corrected publicly. I have written to the councillors individually to highlight the nature and the extent of our use down at Cross Keys, but for the public forum purposes, they include our 3rd and 4th 11 teams, our Club 11 team, our women's program. We field 8 junior teams between under 10s and under 16s. We conduct a junior program for boys and girls aged between 7 and 10 years. Importantly, councillors, we also host the regional representative matches in the area. For girls and boys, they're the local better young cricketers at under 14 and under 16 level. We also know that Strathmore Cricket Club also supports similar numbers of players and teams across their grounds, including Cross Keys. Now, look, just like soccer, cricket is also experiencing ever-increasing demands from new players, all wanting to play with our various clubs. This is particularly relevant with the very fast-growing demand, in particular from the female teams. And the point that I guess I wanted to stress is that the growing numbers and demands for sporting facilities is not a problem isolated just to soccer. Look, we've had the benefit and have enjoyed playing at Cross Keys for over 50 years. We've been particularly fortunate to enjoy the redevelopment of the ground and the facilities just 18 months ago. And it's important to note that the design and the development and the improvements at Cross Keys were done in consultation with all the stakeholders, including us, including Strathmore, but most importantly, also included the Essendon Royal Soccer Club. And look, that facility was designed specifically to be used by all the stakeholders on a shared basis. We understand the pressure on sporting facilities in all municipalities, not just Moonee Valley, is challenging, and we'll always cooperate to ensure that the various needs of all users are best achieved harmoniously. This is in full accordance with the Council's very own policies regarding sports pavilion. In fact, I can draw your attention to the Moonee Valley 2040 Action Plan, which requires that newly developed sports pavilions should seek to consolidate facilities and increase the supply of multi-purpose spaces. This would achieve efficient use of land and increase utilisation. Now, dare I say it, the proposal from the soccer club is in direct contravention with Moonee Valley Council's very own policy. It's also worth highlighting briefly that in 2019, the Victorian State Government made a very important and formal determination of seasons. That determination was done to provide an important reference point for how all sports that share community facilities can coexist in a harmonious way. Now look, last Tuesday, Council passed resolutions in relation to Ormond Park and Cross Keys Reserve. Almost entirely, we're very comfortable with the contents of those resolutions and the processes that have been set out within them. We do have one very serious concern, however, which we believe has the potential to cause significant damage within the wider community. The resolutions included provision for consideration for the soccer club to be awarded exclusive permanent occupancy for Cross Keys. The resolutions, however, also provided that similar consideration is given to all other soccer clubs within Moonee Valley. And that's consideration for all of those clubs to effectively be given permanent occupancy of those grounds. Now, look, it's our contention that if this was ever adopted, it would see the dislocation of all the summer occupants of those other grounds, be they cricket clubs, passive recreation users, or other various sporting clubs. Any decision to exclude one or more groups in favour of a single soccer club would seriously undermine the cooperative community spirit by which all sport and community groups should engage. It would set a precedent that would only encourage other more selfish sports clubs who aren't prepared to share council facilities to become more aggressive and seek special treatment for themselves. Look, we think this scenario has the potential to damage the community, and to be candid, we think there are already signs of it becoming divisive and hostile. Yet it doesn't need to be this way. Look, most pressure on sports facilities usually occurs around the month or two prior to the start of each winter and each summer season, the pre-season period, if you like. And we're of the view that with considered discussions, properly documented agreements, these issues could easily be sorted out, and a much more efficient use of the facilities, particularly during those pre-season periods, can be arrived at. And I know that the resolutions will go to those very issues. Importantly, though, the resolutions passed last Tuesday set a report deadline for August. This effectively creates a 4-month period of uncertainty for those clubs potentially impacted by the threat of being removed from their current home. In our view, it will result in a high level of concern amongst the community. As I said, we believe some friction and hostility has already started due to this issue. It's our view that to immediately reassure the community and to calm the situation, our request is the council should immediately confirm that no consideration will be given to allocating community-owned facilities to any group exclusively for 12-month tenancies. And the council should seek to amend those resolutions passed last Tuesday to that effect. We really sense some unease and some divisiveness growing out of this issue just in the past week, and we're really concerned that if it's not addressed immediately, particularly the issue of the 12-month tenancies, that may be unresolved for at least a 4-month period, I really feel it's going to damage our community. Sporting groups shouldn't be bluing with each other over these things, and I think that an amendment to the resolutions passed last Tuesday to that effect is in order. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simon, and thank you for putting together a presentation at late notice. I think it was only Sunday or so you're alerted to the public forum, so I appreciate you coming and sharing the club's point of view, both on obviously behalf of Essendon Cricket Club, but Strathmore Cricket Club as well, and President Alison Dodd. Councillors, any questions of Simon from that presentation? Obviously some food for thought as well over the next week. Any questions? If not, Simon, we appreciate you taking the time, and thank you for sharing the concerns of the cricket club. And obviously, as the councillor team, we'll take all your comments on notice and go from there.
Thank you, Cam. Thank you, councillors, for the opportunity. All the best.
Thanks, Simon. Appreciate it. So, councillors, we are still having a bit of trouble with Nina, so we'll move to the final presentation for this evening. It comes from Mark Spraggan, representing CHT Architects, speaking to the Section 87A application at 687 Mount Alexander Road, Moonee Ponds. Now, Mark, I think, if I can get my screen up, joined by Lyndon Simmons as well. You've got five minutes and a captive group of councillors, so the floor is yours.
Thank you, councillor. So thanks very much for the opportunity. It's we were trying to get a meeting with you all later on in the week, and we appreciate your time is of the essence. So we thanks for the opportunity this afternoon. I'm just going to introduce the topic real quickly. I'll give a bit of an overview of the history of what we've been dealing with in the last couple of years, and then Mark, the architect, is going to talk through the actual plans. But as a bit of a background, our client purchased the site with a planning permit and endorsed plans. That was back, you might see references to a 2018 set of endorsed plans. That was effectively for a 14-level development, which was residential with some ground floor retail. Our client would prefer not to build that development, certainly can if we choose to, and certainly will if that's where we end up having to go. But there's absolutely some amendments that we want to make to the development, which will make it, and you'll see from Mark's presentation, how much better and more efficient, sustainable, a better design that this proposal is compared to what we could build today. Effectively, over the last, I guess, year and a half, unfortunately, there was a refusal. We lodged an application to incorporate some of these amendments in the start of 2019, and that application was refused in June of 2019. From that point, we went through a really strong design process of listening to what the concerns were of councils and certainly the residents that had lodged objections. And that's resulted in the application that's in front of you this evening. So I won't take up too much more of Mark's time because I know it's going to be precious, but he's certainly going to talk you through the amendments as we've proposed and why we believe that these should be supported next Tuesday at your council chamber.
All right, thanks, Lyndon, and thanks for everybody's attention. I might just share my screen if that's okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Here we go. There we go. Hopefully everybody can see the screen now.
Yep, got it up.
Excellent. Okay, so yeah, so as Lyndon sort of touched on there, we came on board after our client purchased the site with a permit and immediately started looking for ways to sort of improve the scheme and probably sort of modernize it to a certain extent as well. Moving away from what was basically a 100% residential tower into a much more sort of mixed-use development, which we think is a slightly better response for such a pivotal site within the activity centre. So what I've got here, I've just got a few slides, which I'll run through them pretty quick because I know time is pretty precious. The site on the corner of Homer Street and Mount Alexander Road. We've done a quick sort of floor plan comparison just to illustrate, I guess, what the changes are and what sort of components of the building we've actually retained. So if I start with firstly, the endorsed scheme. So starting at ground floor here, you'll see we've got some commercial tenancies facing onto Homer Street. We've got vehicular movements in the side laneway there. As I move through to our updated proposed scheme, the scheme comprises moving away from just purely residential. We've now got retail in here at ground floor. We've got an office area in at level 1. We've got a boutique hotel, and we do have some apartments on top of that. So you'll see at ground floor here, we've got a porker share sort of drop-off zone for the hotel component. And we still have retail tenancies on ground floor fronting onto Homer Street. As we move up into level 1, again, endorsed scheme first, you'll see just apartments and a small commercial tenancy on the corner there. The new sort of proposal is to house the communal amenity for both the boutique hotel and the apartments up on level 1, and the office accommodation on level 1, which provides really good sort of active surveillance of the laneway and onto Homer Street. As we look at a comparison between the endorsed podium design, you'll see just typical sort of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments through there. As we move to our proposed podium design, this is where we house the boutique hotel component. So just through levels 2 to 5. And through into we'll call it the upper level sort of typical tower plate. Again, apartments on the endorsed scheme. And this is where we move to apartments on our proposed scheme. Now, the apartment design and configuration and stuff here, you'll see, I'll take you through in a second, that they're substantially different. The market's moved a lot since this permit was granted. The inclusion of the better apartment design standards and things, whilst this permit was exempt from it, I think the market typically looks for that, because anybody sort of moving into a development such as this will always have, you know, competing projects in the area. So we've looked to get everything basically up to BAD's compliance. So identifying which areas we felt could be improved from the endorsed scheme, we've identified a number of key areas in the typical plan here. First one, Snorkel Bedrooms. So for those of you who are aware, a sort of a space efficient way of providing a 2-bedroom unit used to be to tuck the second bedroom behind took the master bedroom behind the second bedroom, resulting in quite a small sort of narrow opening for daylight. We've designed out all of those. Looking at apartment depth as well, particularly for south-facing apartments, which this has a few of. We've actually looked to reduce the depth of the apartments and widen them out just to improve access to daylight. Further to that, we've actually relocated balconies from in front of living areas to beside them, again, just to get better daylight access in there by bringing the living component of the apartment right out to the facade of the building. Additionally, the core location, so your stairs, your lifts, they were actually located right on the facade of the endorsed scheme. We've now located the main core inboard in the building, and we've just got one sort of fire stair touching the facade. Just it allows us to articulate the building better, like holistically. We've made some improvements to light wells, so there were some very, very small light wells with the approval. Again, not not leaning itself towards sort of a good daylight outcome for those apartments. Borrowed light bedrooms, which you could get away with a few years ago. They're a bit of a no-no these days. So we've made a move to design out all of them. We don't have any borrowed light bedrooms whatsoever. And there were quite a few narrow balconies and again, undersized in comparison to today's sort of better apartment design standards. So we've increased all of those and made the balconies a bit bigger. And with the current sort of move in terms of COVID and stuff, having direct access to more generous private open space is pretty important. Now, lastly, I just want to touch through the sort of the three-dimensional representation of the endorsed scheme and the proposal. Obviously, with these pretty significant changes in the floor plan, it's pushed us down a path of sort of re-articulating the facade a little bit, but also looking at this. There are cladding materials and stuff in here which we simply wouldn't be able to use today after significant changes in terms of fire regulations and stuff have come into play over the past couple of years. So you'll see here some sort of bronze aluminium cladding and things like that which we would have to design out. And this is the sort of reinterpretation of the facade. So you'll see how we've introduced more of a podium and tower component here, with the podium housing the boutique hotel and the tower sort of form above housing the apartments. We've also included some winter balconies in there, again for south facing apartments and anything that's sort of at a low level where acoustic considerations are high. We've introduced these winter balconies to sort of compensate for that. In terms of the public realm interface, this is the endorsed scheme on Homer Street. You can see we've got quite a solid corner there into the laneway, and not really any differentiation between podium and tower. And the revised design introduces the porker shed drop off. You've got that full transparency on the corner, and reintroduced this sort of podium street wall and tower component just to break down the overall form of the building. And I think I managed to get through that in just about the right time.
Excellent, thank you, Mark. I'll in a moment just open it the questions to councillors. I just wanted to confirm these amended plans. The height is the same, or actually drops a little bit?
Correct, yeah. So we've kept basically exactly the same building envelope. We haven't increased in height anywhere. So shadows, sort of public realm impacts and everything are exactly the same.
And then the trade-off with retail is retail space halved, but office space. It's almost the same. Is it almost the same total space, but just reconfigured?
Exactly, yeah. So same, basically the same total floor area, give or take a few square meters here and there. But in terms of the program, it was commercial at ground and all resi above. Now we've got commercial at ground. We have office and communal at level 1, boutique hotel, and apartments above.
Perfect. Thank you. Councillors, any questions? Just noting, obviously, no definitive statements, because this will come to us at a future council meeting. If there's any questions, Councillor Tyson.
Thanks for the presentation. I might just ask about the previous iteration of the design had, I believe, 3-bedroom apartments in it, and this current one doesn't. Can you just explain the thinking behind that?
Yeah, look, the typical process here, we do a lot of market research for each location, each development. What we find is when you have a bit of an uptake for 3 bedrooms, we end up coming back in and combining units. So we've actually configured the apartments here so that there's a very easy and straightforward way to combine a 2 and a 1-bed unit to create that 3-bed if the market requires it. So we typically come back in with 1s and 2s and have the ability to carve them up into 3s if the market wants it.
Councillor Bedio.
Thanks, Mark, for the presentation. I just wanted to address some, I guess, some questions around the wind and the wind reports that are proposed, or the wind assessment. There's a development that's planned on Everidge Street, I guess, opposite. I was wondering if any of the wind assessments have taken that development in consideration.
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I'd have to check that.
No worries.
Yeah.
We're certainly comfortable in taking some of these questions on notice, Councillor Ezio, and we'll respond over the course of the next couple of days, if that's okay.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you.
Any other questions, councillors? If not, Mark, Lyndon, Aidan, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you presenting again at short notice. So thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our public forum. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Nina back online, but no doubt we will reach out to her in the coming 24 hours and ensure her presentation is circulated to councillors along with the other presentations that were